Hello everybody, Qualia Quartz here, back with another 20 album cover banner designs. The first video to officially be, surprise surprise, set in the museum that we've been working on. Yes, while I was quote-unquote trapped in the void, I was building up this room. Still very unfinished. I don't know if these are staying, because I think I'm gonna keep walking into them now that I think about it. But anyways, up first we've got one that took me way too long to get to. It's got some pretty iconic colors. It is Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails. Take a light blue banner, give it a magenta stripe from the bottom left to the top right, a light blue triangle in the top left, a black stripe on the right, magenta stripes, a light blue block in the top left, and then a black border. This one took me a while because I really wanted to make sure that this black bar got in here, and it was hard getting it in there in a way that still made it look good, but finally figured it out. The space in between these two stripes of the multi-stripe step works perfectly. And here's how this design looks on a shield. The black stripe gets a little faded there. It is what it is. Up next, I was also toying with the idea of putting some sort of theming behind every single cover, but then I thought about it and that would just make every video take that much longer. So enjoy your special theming for this album specifically, and if you can't tell already, this is Flood by Boris. Take a cyan banner, give it light blue bricks, a cyan triangle on the bottom, a cyan block on the bottom right, a light blue globe, a light blue block on the top, and then white spikes on top. Overall, very solid design. The shield also looks good. I think, if anything, the shield looks even better. I'm a big fan of Boris, so I do want to get to the rest of their stuff eventually. Up next, this is one that is very similar to Twin Fantasy in that it was requested a million times. I think partially because people thought it would be easy. This one is actually really difficult to capture on a banner, but I think I did it good enough now. And it is Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder. One of my favorite albums of all time, by the way, so trust me, I wanted to get it right too. Take a yellow banner, give it an orange border, a red gradient from the top, black spikes on top, an orange diamond, a red squiggly border, and then a white circle. All the layers that this album cover has is really difficult to convey on a banner, but I think as long as the colors are in the right spots, then it'll convey it enough. Another thing I may have to change about this whole room is I'm not really sure where to put the shield for the designs on the corner here. Like, it's kind of just awkwardly to the side here. I'll figure that part out, but as you can see, this shield is not as good as the banner. Up next, we got one for all the Zoomers out there. It is 1000 Gecs by 100 Gecs. Take a black banner, give it a green block on the bottom, a pink stripe, a black creeper face, a blue gradient from the top, a green flower, and then a green diamond. This was a fun one to do because some of these elements were very obvious, like the tree, and then the slightly tricky parts, like getting the band members in there, was a fun thing to figure out. Just put a creeper face under the tree. Boom. And it also helps kind of shape the sunset going on in the background. Or is that a sunrise? Not sure. Wait, before I move on to this album that every one of you should be able to recognize immediately, the shield. It kind of just cut them out. Yeah, it's not that good. Anyways, the next one is Illmatic by Nas. Take a gray banner, give it a black diamond, an orange block on the bottom, a brown circle, a light gray block on the top, a red block in the top right corner, and then a brown gradient from the bottom. This one's a little awkward because I kind of had to make his head disembodied and floating in the middle. But I mean, at a quick glance at this cover, to most people, that's what you see. So I guess it works out. And the shield's a little funny because his hair has been reduced to like just some clown puffs. I don't know why I called it that. You know what I'm talking about, like Larry from the Three Stooges. Ooh, up next we got a banger. This one came out so good. Oh, especially the shield. I'm just gonna go right to, no, actually no. The neck looks a little weird on the shield. It's The Bends by Radiohead. Take a yellow banner, give it a black squiggly border, a black normal border, an orange thing. A black stripe on the left, make the bottom half red, and then a yellow block on the bottom. This one came out so well, like it even looks like he's tilting his head backwards. Just like the real thing. Up next, this one was a little weird and took me a while because it's a photograph. I had to really abstractify it. There's just a whole lot more detail going on in this one compared to something like The Bends, which is just a figure with a logo on top of it. And it is Jar of Flies by Alice in Chains. Take a black banner, give it an orange diamond, a red gradient from the top, a black border, green spikes on the bottom, a red stripe on the right, and then black stripes on the top. And the shield? is kind of the same. It's pretty much on the same par. I mean, the diamond looks less like a diamond and more like it could be this kid's face, so I guess the shield is kind of pretty good. Up next, we got an album. Oh, I always forget the full name of this thing. Yeah, I just had to look. It's like the last word that really trips me up. And it is De Mysteriis Dom Sathanas by Mayhem. What if I like saying things wrong, huh? What if I like saying things wrong? And this cover can look a little more on the blue or purple side depending on where you look, so I just made them in both colors. I prefer the blue personally. Take a black banner, give it blue or purple stripes, a black block on top, a blue or purple diamond, white spikes on top, a black block on the bottom, and then a black cross, which is my favorite thing about this cover, because look at what it did to the logo. Like, I wasn't even trying to do that. I was just trying to get more shadow into this castle, and it ended up making the logo look so much better. So yeah, another fire design. The shields are a little asymmetrical. The stripes come out weird on it. Still pretty good, I'd say. Up next, we've got a cover that has a bit of an alternative. One that really just requires one extra step, and you can take it or keep it out. Whatever you want. And Mike designed this one too. Shout out Michael Babber. It is Death Metal by Panchiko. Take a white banner, and if you want to just make the standard cover, you move on to this light gray globe. If you want to make the rock cover, first put a light blue block in the top left. Then place a white flower pattern, a black bar on the right, black spikes on the bottom, and then a white border. Both renditions look pretty good. I was impressed that these two elements combined really convey the face on this album, which is great because it's a lot of thin line work, and being able to convey thin line work correctly on a banner is really good. And here are the shields. Yup, they sure are shields. Swinging around over here for the next 10. Up next, we've got one that I just did not even have a concept for before I started making these videos. Apparently, it's really big on TikTok. And it is Who Really Cares by TV Girl. Take a blue banner, give it a black squiggly border and then a black normal border, a magenta triangle from the bottom, a blue diamond, a magenta circle, and then a black block in the top right. This one was a lot of toying as well because the best that this cover looks uses like 10 or so different layers. There's so many additional things that I wish I could do to this banner, but it wouldn't be Survivor friendly. I mean, who knows? You may see the Survivor unfriendly version later if you wanna. This is also the shield, by the way. It looks pretty good too. Oh, up next, speaking of albums that really just need more than 6 layers, here we have another one that I wish I could do way more with. This is the best I can convey it with only 6 layers. And I opted to go for basically a Steve head. Oh god, I don't have Mike here with me to pronounce this one correctly, so I'm just gonna butcher it intentionally. It is what my American ass perceives as Sehnsucht by Rammstein. No, I will not apologize. Take a brown banner, make the bottom half cyan, give it a black block on the bottom, a cyan stripe in the middle, a black block on top, white spikes, and then a black border. Trust me, I know, this one is scuffed. There's so much more that I wish I could do. I really do have to make a command-only banner video. Up next, we're back at it with everybody's favorite white boys. It is White Pepper by Ween. Take a white banner, give it a black diamond and then a light gray diamond, a white globe pattern, a black triangle on top, a green triangle on top, and then a white block on the top. This one came out incredibly fire, both as a banner and especially as a shield. You look at this shield and you can immediately tell that's a pepper. You don't even have to know what the album is. Where are my vegetable enjoyers at, bro? Look at this. Big win for all my vegetable fans out there. Up next, we got a fairly easy one that was a little abstract in the middle. Just rounding off this band's discography, in terms of their studio albums anyways, we've got Bleach by Nirvana. Take a white banner, make the top half gray, add a white stripe on the left, a light gray border, a black triangle, and then black blocks on the top and the bottom. If you're not looking at the actual cover, this one might be a little difficult to recognize, but if you are looking at the cover and you look back at this and then you're like, yeah, that's it. It's got that going for it, but it came out pretty good. The shield came out good as well, naturally, considering a lot of the stuff in the middle is just abstractly getting the colors where they're supposed to be. Up next is one that I humorously, way back in the beginning, when I designed this one in 2022, literally only did this flower pattern on a red banner and called it a day. And I asked myself, well, I mean, I could do something else, right? So we got Discipline by King Crimson, in which All I really additionally added was the text, and that's pretty much optional. Again, without the text, literally just put this light gray flower on a red banner. With the text, you give a red banner some light gray spikes on top, then add a red border, red bricks, and then red stripes, and then put the flower on. But I say if you're gonna make it as a shield, just don't bother with the text, just do the flower. Because yeah, the text looks weird on the shield. Up next, another one that, just like TV Girl, I've never heard of this guy until I made these videos. Gonna have to put this guy on later just to know. And it is In Case I Make It by Will Wood. I opted to do this one first because it was one of the more requested and because it's got silly cheese. I like silly cheese. Take an orange banner, give it a black block on the top and the bottom, a black triangle on top, an orange squiggly border, a black normal border, and then a red globe pattern. It might not be tilted the right way, but I still got the slice out of there. And these 4 triangles in the corner are the best thing I could do to convey all the stars going on everywhere. Trust me, bricks would have made this thing look way too messy. I often try to avoid bricks because of that. Also, the shield. The shape gets so messed up on the shield. Up next, oh, I was just talking dirty on you, bricks. I'm sorry, you're still useful. I like you. This is an album cover with a lot of thin, diagonal lines. It is The Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. And trust me, if I just did the black stripes for the last step, it doesn't look good. Here, I'll show you. Boom, bam. Let's see what it looks like. It's not great. They're way too thick, and the lines on this cover are mostly diagonal, which I think the bricks do fairly well. Anyways, take a black banner, give it a green diamond, a red diagonal stripe from the top left to the bottom right, make the left half red, give it a black squiggly border, black spikes on the bottom, or on top if you think that part matters a little more to you, whether you want to get the legs or the head slightly more fleshed out, up to you. And then black bricks. And yeah, like I was saying, there's a zigzaggy diagonal to these bricks that this pattern has that the normal stripes just don't have that, and they're too thick. So I think this is a good application for bricks. Conveying diagonal lines pretty well. Wait, before I run away, here's the shield. It's certainly a shape. It looks like some weird alien symbol. Bricks are really not good for shields. Up next, we got one that I had to toy with a lot just in terms of color versus shape. I decided to go more for color, and it is Meteora by Linkin Park. Take a black banner, make the top half brown, give it a brown stripe in the middle, a light gray gradient from the top, a black block on the bottom, black spikes on top, and then a black triangle on the bottom. Whoop! Forgot to put the shield on here. This is where I'm hiding my crafting tables, by the way. Just a nifty little way to always have them there. So yeah, this is what this design's shield looks like. Apparently. Now, quite a few people have been making banners now. I mean, they were already doing it before I was doing it, but now there's quite a few more people doing these. I saw a design somewhere where someone used a creeper face and just sliced the top left part off with a triangle. That's a good way to get the figure in there for sure. It makes it so that you kind of have to just go mono brown for the background though. And I don't know, with me, I think colors matter a little more than getting the shape perfect. But if you want to go more for shape, go for it. That's just a me thing. I guess it just kind of depends banner to banner, and for this banner I really wanted to get the colors. Anyways, up next we've got an album that I've decided to show 2 different designs because honestly I'm not really sure which one I'd say is better. And in case you can't tell already, it's Steal This Album by System of a Down. See, from a distance the one on top reads better, but up close, I think the bottom one is better hands down because you kind of get the text on the top and bottom from these flowers. Also, the 2 rings in the middle are also more accurate to the actual CD, but alas, from a distance, it doesn't really read as well. Anyways, no matter what design you're going for, we start with a white banner with black spikes on the top and the bottom. Then we give it a white central vertical stripe, and if you want to go for the one that reads better up close, you take a black flower pattern, a white flower pattern, and then a black border. Or if you want the one that reads better from further away, you give it a light gray circle, a white flower pattern, and then a black border. Either way, it should go without saying that the circle design is better for the shield because look, it doesn't even show up here. I'm very detail oriented, so I think I slightly prefer this one on the bottom, but if you're trying to display it from afar, then definitely use the one on top. Up next, we've got a pretty iconic album cover at this point, with 2 different color variations. It's from a band that I've done quite a bit so far, almost like they're one of my favorite bands or something. It is To Be Kind by Swans. For the yellow one, which really should be tan, but alas no tan dye, we we take a yellow banner, give it 2 black flower patterns to really strengthen the edges, a yellow flower pattern, make the bottom half yellow, give it a yellow border, and then put a pink circle on top. Garbage shield. If you're making it for the shield, don't do the yellow one. All we do differently for the white version is simply not do a second black flower, because there's kind of no point. Otherwise, it's the same. We have a white banner. The flower remains yellow, of course, because that's for the hair. But then these 2 elements are white as well. And although this one is still better than the yellow one, the shield is still not very good. This baby has 4 hairs. 4 individual hairs. And finally, last but not least, I promised this one a few videos ago, and it's taken me way too long to get back to it. It is Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Take a black banner, give it light blue stripes, a pink triangle on bottom, a black border, a pink creeper face, a black bar on the left, and then black spikes on the bottom. Love the way that this design came out. As soon as I realized I could use these stripes to convey the multiple swords of, I don't know, the blur, whatever you call it with the photo, then I was like, dude, that's perfect. This is gonna come out so good. And it did, I'd say. And I like the fact that the top part of the creeper face is kind of like his hand. Almost like he's a me character, or Rayman with no arms. He's just got the hand floating there with the swords. I don't know. It's a good abstract way to convey the arm. So that's it for the new banners. I have 2 updates. The first one is for the money store, and this one did not come from the comments. This one actually came from me searching my own name because I'm a narcissist, apparently. I see y'all out there. But anyways, someone on the Death Grips subreddit was inspired by my No Love Deep web design to go and make all of the Death Grips album covers, and their money store is hands down the best design that I've seen for this album so far. I've already had to revisit this album in the past, but this one's worth another look. I mean, look. This is what we had previously. Really, all we have represented is the figure on the right and the bar across the top, and I didn't even think to give that bar these thin lines. What an amateur. Anyways, the new definitive design involves a white banner with a black diagonal stripe from the top left to the bottom right, a white squiggly border, then you make the right side black, give it a white creeper face, a black bar in the center, and then a white bar in the center. And this one is so impressive to me, not just because both of the figures have representation now, but also just because like the shape, the direction of the mask on the left is actually pointed. I don't think you can top that one in a survival friendly banner. That's probably the best we're ever gonna see it. I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong, but I kinda doubt it. And finally, there was a comment suggestion for Astroworld, which I've always been very iffy on, to move the light blue block back a little bit to let the top parts stand out. Now, originally, I didn't show those because if you look at the actual cover, if you look at the statue of his head, it's not the most accurate in terms of where his hair is, but I think it honestly looks better on a banner. And the rest is me just kind of thinking to myself, you know what, I gotta give this one a better design. If anything, just like an alternative and showing y'all what it looks like if you swap the colors. For this updated version, we take a light blue banner, make the bottom half dark gray, give it a yellow circle, an orange snout pattern, an orange flower pattern, a yellow triangle on the bottom, and then a brown block on the bottom. So 3 things here are different. First of all, I swapped the colors, and this is really open to interpretation. Obviously, you're going to use these 2 colors, but I decided that I think gold should be a little more on the orange side. We've seen that with the Random Access Memories cover. I think the orange looked better on that one too. And the entryway that people walk into this park from is yellow. So this is technically more color accurate in that regard. The other 2 edits, I decided to just let the top part of the flower pattern just be there, because I think even though it makes it a little more inaccurate to the actual cover, it does still kind of weirdly make it more recognizable as a banner. I don't know, it's got a weird, incorrect yet somehow better aspect to it. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I also shortened the dark gray mishmash of everything going on behind the statue, because of course if you look on the cover, then the statue is way bigger and taller than everything you see behind it. And that naturally came about when I was able to give myself another layer from excluding the block on top. This is another weird one to convey with only 6 layers, but I digress. Overall an upgrade, I think. I guess it depends on your own personal taste whether you think the orange or the yellow should be the dominant color. So that's it for the banners. That's it for the tutorial section of this video. Thank you for watching. If that's all you wanted to see, goodbye, but I still got a few more things I want to show. If you're interested in this museum at all, then I think I'd like to finally talk about it. First of all, obviously it's extremely unfinished. Here we have the big entryway room that we still don't know how to fill, what blocks to use. You can see I've been going all out with the recording space, but there's still a lot of things that I'm just kind of not sure on yet. Over here, here's one of the hallways that's going to be in here. They're not all gonna look like this. Every hallway is gonna be different. This one I decided to theme after the intro track to Soundtracks for the Blind, Red Velvet Corridor. A lot of the museum is gonna be stuff like that. Here's a sign letting you know that this way is the recording room we were just in. It's a very unfinished mess right now. And I think it's always kind of gonna be an unfinished mess because I think we're always going to be adding new wings to it. Here is the still unfinished version of the room where we have the giant topster. This is every album that's been in a video so far, and it's pretty big. I haven't shown them all together since like the 4th episode or so it's overwhelming finally seeing them all together again. But this is what we've been working on. If you saw these giant banners in the background of a few videos, this was us trying to make the lead up, the entryway to it. My thinking is at some point I'm going to make this world something that I have in the description for download, and every month or so I re-upload the world file as it grows and changes. This is where I think I'm gonna have people spawn in, and yeah, that's what's been going on. Underneath this entryway room that is still obviously unfinished is where I was doing videos for a little while. The only remains being the Grave of Rivers. Rest in peace, sweet prince. You were taken too soon. But yeah, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'm hanging out in the crawl space. This is weird. Leave some banner suggestions, some edit suggestions. I'll see y'all next time with some new banners and some more progress on this museum, I guess. See y'all later.